Hello, everyone. In Watch These Animals Being Freed for the First Time, we'll witness the incredible moment when animals are finally returned to the wild for the very first time after spending years in captivity. Every one of us matters. We each have a unique role to play and the power to make a difference. We are responsible for our own lives, and above all, we must show respect, compassion, and love for the living beings around us, especially for one another. Five Iberian lynxes were released into the wild in southern Spain as part of an expanding breeding and conservation program aimed at protecting one of the world's most endangered wild cat species. A rare lynx that was captured earlier this year in Michigan's Thumb region has been successfully released back into the wild by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, DNR. Brano, a 2-year-old male lynx from Slovakia, was released into the forests of Rhineland-Palatinate as part of an ongoing effort to restore the species to its natural habitat. A young male lynx was released back into the wild after being safely sedated for handling and transport. A captured cheetah has been released back into the wild, returning to its natural habitat where it belongs. Eight cheetahs from Namibia arrived at their new home in Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh, where they were released into the wild by content reference Oisite 0 Jacobas Index Shurs as part of an ambitious effort to reintroduce the iconic big cat to India. A rescued leopard has finally returned to the wild, reclaiming its place in its natural habitat. The lions looked both amazed and overjoyed as they were released into a spacious sanctuary, finally free to explore their new surroundings. An Amur tiger was released back into the wild in Russia, marking an important step in the conservation of this magnificent and endangered species. After completing a rehabilitation program, the tiger was released into Beacon National Park, far from any human settlements. It was approximately 3 years old and weighed around 136 kilograms. An angry, growling Persian leopard was released back into the wild, ready to reclaim its place in its natural environment. This otter was recently released back into the wild for its own safety after being found and captured within a town. I really admire how they make every effort to keep these animals truly wild. It must be incredibly difficult for the volunteers and foster caregivers to avoid becoming attached to them while providing the care they need. Wild sea lions finally returning to where they belong, back home in the wild.
Yeah!
Sea lions and seals return home after completing their rehabilitation, ready to begin the next chapter of their lives back in the wild. Four rescued and rehabilitated sea lions were released back into their natural habitat, where they could once again thrive in the wild. A sea lion that wandered across a busy San Diego highway in January has now returned to the Pacific Ocean. The animal was rescued by a team of veterinarians and taken to SeaWorld for rehabilitation before finally being released back into the ocean. A bald eagle was released back into the wild at Sagamore Hill in Oyster Bay after receiving care and making a full recovery. The Texas Wildlife Center of the Houston SPCA released a young bald eagle back into the wild after successfully caring for and rehabilitating the bird. A wounded bald eagle, found in the easternmost part of the county with a drooping wing and unable to fly, was released back into the wild after a month of rehabilitation at the San Diego Humane Society. Wilder the eagle was released back into the wild at Tejon Ranch, marking the successful conclusion of its rehabilitation journey. A peregrine falcon was released back into the wild, ready to soar freely once again in its natural environment. A wounded red-necked Shaheen falcon, after undergoing rehabilitation and regaining its ability to fly, was finally released back into the wild. The research team is making history, as this marks the first time captive-bred macaws have been released into the wild in Guatemala, increasing the wild population by an estimated 5%. swan exceeded all expectations with its remarkably fast recovery and was successfully released back into the wild. The vulture was released back into the wild, free to return to its natural habitat once again. On Wednesday, Peru's National Forestry and Wildlife Service released a vulture into the Colca Canyon after successfully treating the bird for poisoning.
Enorme, ¿no?
Thank you for watching. Watch these animals being freed for the first time. Which moment did you find the most memorable? What does giving animals a second chance at freedom mean to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Enorme, ¿no?